one of the founders of NYPAN, one of the founders of WFP, and now has the honor of introducing one of our progressive champions in this city, one of the leaders of the resistance, George.
So I brought some neighbors with me. I live on 7th Street. They live on 11th Street, although for the last few years they are living in other quarters. And I'd like to bring up to the mic now the First Lady of the City of New York, Chirlane McCray, and her husband, Mayor Bill de Blasio. All I could say is, usually they give me the task of introducing the mayor, and now they gave me the task of introducing the First Lady. And I said, that's a nice change. No offense, Bill. We're talking about the year of the progressive going forward, but we've been so fortunate in New York to have two progressive leaders in our city protecting us and fighting for the people. I was never so proud as this, even all the things that our mayor has done and our First Lady have done the last 4 years. They keep amazing us. And just this last week, the First Lady was part of an initiative where they're going to sue the pharmaceutical companies for pushing opioids, the modern-day drug pushers. And all the work she is doing on mental health and keeping people healthy and fighting for that, a lot of that goes under the radar, but it's really, really important work. So without further ado, the First Lady of the City of New York.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, George. And how's everybody doing tonight? Good.
Yeah.
Good? The room is packed. Wow. I want to congratulate the honorees, Sean King and Leslie Kagan and everybody. I didn't know. I thought it was all about you, Eddie. I thought it was all about you. Nobody told me there were more people involved. But
I know how to do it.
But honestly, I would go anywhere to have the opportunity to honor Eddie, to sing his praises, because that's right. Because when I needed him, Eddie was there for me. Yeah. I met Eddie during Bill's mayoral campaign the first time around, and I had campaigned before, but I had never had to actually command so many rooms and do so much stuff on my own. So, and when I think back then how nervous I was all the time, to be paired up with Eddie was a godsend. It really was. I don't know how we got together. I don't know who made it happen, but Eddie was my guy. And you all know he's an old pro. He's quite a personality. And he would come with me to all the senior centers. We had a whole circuit that we were doing together. And he would say, come on, Chirlane, we're going to do this one. You and me. We're going to do this. And he showed me the ropes. He helped me feel really comfortable. We had a whole routine that we did together. And let me tell you, I laughed so much. It really didn't take long before we were a real dynamic duo on the campaign. And when I was thinking about his career and his life of extraordinary activism, it struck me that he really did for me what he has done for countless people over the years. He's a teacher, he's a guide, he helps people find the strength in their own voices, he makes people feel at ease so that the real natural human connections can happen.
That's right.
And those connections are so often the spark that ignites powerful change.
That's right.
On top of that, he's really funny. He's really, really funny and incredibly warm. So I think we can all agree that I think we can all agree that the world would be better off if we had many more Eddie Kays. And I have to tell you this one more thing. Whenever he calls me up, and he always calls, he says, Chirlane, I don't know if you remember me. Chirlane, I'm that old white guy who used to go around with the senior centers with you. I don't know if you remember me. I mean, come on. As if anyone could forget Eddie Kay. So once and for all, Eddie, yes, I do remember you. And now I'm so proud to honor you, but to introduce another fan of yours, our mayor, Bill de Blasio.
You've all just experienced Eddie Kay's rabble-rousing. You were just roused. I am so thrilled to be here. This is, looking around the room, this is a very affirmational evening. This is a very positive evening. And what George said before about the year of the progressive, to me is just a fact. Something is beginning right now in 2018 that's going to change this city and this state and this country for the long run. And it is very important. I want to say this at the beginning. I'll be very quick, but I have to say this because I really admire NYPAN and all you're doing. But it's really important that this year we embrace each other and believe in each other and get over that kind of progressive disease of undercounting ourselves or talking ourselves out of our own power. It is a year for progressives, period. And I go wherever I go, if I get any sense that people are still feeling that kind of depressive tendency that resulted from the evening of November 8th, 2016, I remind them not just of what happened in Virginia, which should really be all you ever need to be inspired again. I remind them of what happened in Alabama. So our brothers and sisters in both Virginia and Alabama can reverse the New York phrase on us: if you can make it there, you can certainly make it here. And NYPAN will be in the forefront. And I am sure of that. And you need to be in the forefront. And you need to push the spectrum here in this incredible moment. People, I know so many people in this room, and I've seen your work, I've seen your organizing for years. Your time has come, everything that you have built up for years and years. This is the ripest moment. And for so many people in NYPAN, a crucial experience was Bernie's campaign. And I said, I was on Bernie's show, radio show earlier in the week, and I said to him what I believe fundamentally, that Bernie and his movement, his campaign, and people in this room changed American politics fundamentally, and it will not change back. So it feels like a painful time on one level, but I believe in my heart it is the dawning of a progressive era. We saw it in 2016 in so many ways before November 8th. We saw it in 2017 in many parts of the country simultaneously, and from the grassroots, in ways that none of the pundits or the conventional wisdom people possibly could have predicted, and they didn't predict it. We now have been taught a lesson about how change is made. So NYPAN's roots, its beliefs, its understanding of how to do this work are crucial. And when it comes to the things we're going to do in 2018, this is the perfect year to change the electoral laws of this state and actually make it possible to vote in New York State. And it's the perfect year to fight for single payer in New York State. perfect year to say no to the IDC in New York State. So I want to thank everyone at NYPAN, and I want to thank everyone who was part of that movement with Bernie in 2016. I'm thrilled that Nina Turner is here, one of the great progressive voices in this country. And very quickly, before I talk about the affection I hold for Eddie, just to say this about the other honorees. Sometime in the late 1970s, early 1980s, I was in my native Massachusetts, and I went into a room where a discussion was happening about a protest, either anti-nuclear weapons or anti-nuclear power, or protest, and it was in a bar somewhere, and the person teaching everyone how to organize the rally was Leslie Kagan. And I think no one, literally no one, has built the capacity of grassroots people to speak their mind and organize their protests and make their voices heard. No one has done that with greater consistency over these last decades. And I've seen it up close and personal. We worked on the 1989 David Dinkins campaign together and many things ever since. So you are honoring someone who has just been foundational to our movements. Thank you, Leslie. I want to thank Sean King for being an extraordinary voice of conscience. He has broken through. Look, there are many times voices of conscience in the wilderness, and there's academics, and there's all sorts of other people who do great work. Sean King's voice has broken through and moved people and woken people up in a very powerful way. Let's thank him for that. And I know he is gone, but I want to say one thing about Frank Barbaro. And I want to say this, and there's some other people in the room. I saw Roger Green coming in, other people. We were here, Eddie, of course, Leslie, a lot of us were here in 1989. Chirlane and I ended up working for David Dinkins and that incredible movement for change. But I also want to remind you, and I had the honor of working for Bill Lynch, that David Dinkins got elected, of course, in part because of what he brought and that campaign brought, in part because of what Jesse Jackson did in 1984 and 1988. Some of us won one of those campaigns too. But Bill Lynch used to always give a lot of credit for Frank Barbaro standing up in 1981 against Koch and saying that there could be a different way in New York City. And so it's so good that you are honoring someone who set us on a path to bigger change. Finally, Eddie K. Oh, it's so easy to talk about Eddie K. So you'll hear plenty about his bio. You didn't need any of that. I only need to say this on a very human level. So, and I am affected this week. I mentioned being on Bernie's radio show. I also spoke just before Marian Wright Edelman at the U.S. Conference of Mayors. So I was with two people earlier in the week who have been on here a long time in the movement. And what was so striking to me, whether it was Bernie or Marian, was their energy, focus, devotion, hopefulness levels were just as sharp as could be. There wasn't a hint of being depressed or pushed back or diminished, in part because they fought those battles in good times and bad. When you hear Marian Wright Edelman talk about the year 1968, it sure humbles us about the fights we have now, which in some ways look pretty tame compared to what our brothers and sisters then fought through. So I reference that to say about Eddie, when someone who's been through it all maintains the optimism and the energy and the love of humanity that Eddie K does every day, that's a kind of inspirational ability that we all need, and very few people can possess and speak with such authority as Eddie does. And I will just tell you my own simple personal story. I'm minding my own business in the year 2013, early in the year. I am varying between 4th place and 5th place in the polls for mayor. I would say it was the strongest version of 4th or 5th place you've ever seen. But I cannot tell a lie. I looked like I was going nowhere fast. And one day Eddie K shows up. And it's like, come on, guys, let's put on a show. And everything was positive. Everything was possible. And wherever he went, he was firing up everybody. He made the volunteers feel better. He made everyone we came across at a subway stop or wherever it was, everyone felt like something important was going on. Because he communicated that energy and that belief. And when you look at it, you say, well, wait a minute, that's the way it's supposed to be done. And I just have to say, Eddie, you know, you may have thought sometimes people forgot your name. I agree with Chirlane. It's really hard to forget you, brother. There is essentially nothing forgettable about Eddie. If they drew up a character, I don't think they could have added another colorful attribute, okay? But Eddie, it's that you have only one speed I love so deeply, and that speed is hope. That speed is hope. That speed is modesty. I am now only going to make it worse by presenting a proclamation, which, if you thought he had a healthy ego before, brother. Hey, Eddie, come on up. Come on up, Eddie. This proclamation, this official proclamation of the City of New York says, known for his moderate ideological beliefs, never, ever associated with left-wing causes. It goes on and on. No, it says, this is a man who gave his life to labor and working people and social change and has not stopped and is a treasure to this city. I proclaim today, January 27th, 2018, in the City of New York, as Eddie K. Day.